Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's going on? It's your boy Ricky the plumber, and today is a Saturday, and I've got a little home improvement project that I'm going to be doing at the house. I'm replacing both toilets in my bathrooms with the Toto Drake 2 1.6 gallon flush elongated standard height toilet. So I'm super excited to take on this project today. Follow me, and let's get this job done together. Alright, so first things first, let's get everything out of the way. Alright, now we verified that the water is off. I turned off both shut-off valves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shop vac and disconnect the toilet supply. Alright, now the quickest way to get the toilet off is disconnect the supply line, suck the water out, and then there's going to be water in the tank, which doesn't really bother me because I can get that out after. But I'm going to pop the China caps off. That one just broke on me, of course. Fun times. I'm going to loosen both closet bolts here. By the way, let me know what you guys think about this POV format in the comments. Do you like it? Is this helpful to you? Is this something that you guys want to see more of? I'm going to get a rag handy because I'm going to shove a rag or two down the flange. Whew, okay, so whatever caulk they used is really sticky. So I'm going to grab a knife and just score the caulk line along the base of the toilet. Oh yeah, feels like DAP or ProFlow. Once you score it, should be able to get a flathead in there to kind of pry it up a hair. There she goes. Now, some toilets, a lot of times, they'll just come straight off. Then you should be safe to rock it and pull it right off the flange. Now I'm going to set this toilet outside. Honey, can you get the front door, please? Never mind. Alright. Toilet's out. I'm going to swap out this angle stop now. Alright, so I got a pair of PEX cutters. I got my shop vac. Let's go ahead and get the rest of the water up. All right, now this flange looks okay. It is the stainless steel style flange. I noticed they didn't bolt it down to the floor, which is, in my opinion, kind of lazy. It's okay with a stainless steel flange, so I'm not going to worry about it today. Maybe I will, just for the video. I'll add some Tapcons, get this thing bolted down to the floor. Now you'll notice there's a bit of a void here where they didn't cut the tile correctly or close enough to the flange, and so what I'll have to do is get like some kind of shim, like a piece of CPVC or something, to get it down in there, but that's for later in the video. For now, I'll go ahead and cut this. I'm going to get this part of it out of the way first. Just cutting as close as I can to this PEX A. There we go, got a little bit of water. Now I'm going to take my razor knife here. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of paint on the top of the pipe. It's not a problem. I'm just going to scrape that off. Gently scraping, not poking the pipe. Right? We don't want to damage it. Now you'll notice that it's very close to the wall. They didn't leave me a lot of room. So I've got it. I know that I've got enough room to get another angle stop on. But if this ever has to be replaced, the scutcheon will have to come off and we'll have to throw a coupling in the wall. So that's right. My angle stops are in the garage. Hey, Jet. So, brand new supply lines, brand new angle stops. And let's get my rings out. So, always want to make sure you got full insertion. And we do. Like I said, I have just enough room to get this angle stop on. And that's money. You may be wondering why I'm angling the angle stop down. You can actually rotate the angle stop in whatever direction you wish. I find that it's better to rotate them slightly down and then kind of have a gentle turn on your supply line. Now, if these supply lines aren't long enough, I can get a 16-inch supply line. I believe I've got some in my truck. But yeah, that would be the process for changing out the toilet angle stop. We'll go to the other bathroom and do the exact same thing. I'll probably avoid pulling the toilet in the other bathroom. That way I can get the water back on ASAP. All right, so now I'm going to change out the second toilet angle stop. And again, you'll notice they didn't leave me a lot of room here, which is fine. So, all right. Now, there actually is a way that you can get these acorr stops off. They are a pain in the you-know-what. But basically, you would just pull and twist. And in theory, they're supposed to come off. In practice, I've noticed that they almost never come off easily. But let's see if we can get that on video for you guys. So there's got this little retainer ring behind the acorr stop. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have these acorr stops in your house, you ought to consider changing them out because they're really not high quality. I mean, you can see it's a single stop that is both the stop and the supply line. So plumbers put these in, well, construction plumbers put this in because it's cheaper, more cost effective. These are like $1 versus, I don't know, $5 for a braided steel supply line and angle stop. I guess that would be $10. So this is like a $2 part versus $10 worth of parts. You do, thousands of homes a year. I understand it saves you money, but damn, like, whatever happened to like saving money by being more efficient, not by putting cheap ass quality products in a customer's house, So if you can just kind of pull and wiggle and jiggle, and it should Again, in theory, it should come off. I think I'm actually going to get lucky today. Yeah, it's coming. Now, you'll notice that, like, if you've got an acorr stop that's, say, 5 or 6 years old, what I'm doing right now is, like, almost impossible. They're just a major pain in the butt to come off. Look, there's the retainer ring. And then it's just a matter of sliding this little clip off, which I'm actually going to cut. Let's see if I can bend it. Bring it. Again, if you have the choice, if you're a plumber, don't install this crap. I mean, it's just such low tier, low quality, low level construction plumber stuff. We don't want to do construction. Well, not all construction plumbers are bad, but we don't want to be new construction plumbers for residential homes because they're the lowest of the low. No offense, if you're a new construction plumber watching this, you know I don't mean to offend you, but the track home guys are bottom of the barrel. We all know it. Let's just be real, all right? I think it's okay. I can be real on my channel if I want to. So anyways, I'm just going to trim it just a hair back here. Got a nice clean cut. And I'm going to suck a little more water out of that line because it looks like it needs it. I need to clean that cut up just a slight bit. I think my PEX cutter blade is getting kind of old. It's alright. You can cut this pipe really easily if you got a decent razor blade. Alright, now that the cut's nice and clean, go ahead and shop back. All right, and then I got my handy uponor gun and uponor ring. Clean up that lip just a hair more. That's much better. I am a bit OCD about making sure these things are cut nice and straight. Okay. So we got our ring fully inserted. And for ½ inch, it's supposed to be anywhere from like 8 to 10 presses with the uponor gun. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and then I just hold it in place for 5 or 6 seconds. All right, that's set. You're supposed to be able to turn the water on to uponor immediately. I usually wait about a minute or two. I mean, just to be, certain that it's fully contracted. Now, let's see if we're going to make a 12-inch stop work. I don't think a 12-inch supply line is going to work, so I'll probably get some 16-inch supply lines. But we'll see. We're putting new toilets in, so the height of the fill valve may be a little bit lower. But yeah, that's how you change out these acorr stops. Now, if you don't have an uponor gun, you can actually buy the uponor expansion tool that's hand cranked at Home Depot for like $130. I think that's a great option. You actually can, with PEX A, you can crimp PEX B fittings onto PEX A. You lose a little bit of flow through rate, but that's also another way to do it. And God forbid, if you're absolutely not handy with tools or you just don't want to spend the money on any tools, you could just get a shark bite and throw it on there. I would never do that. I'm a professional plumber. I have the tools, but if you're a homeowner, maybe that's an option for you. All right, so the water's back on. We got no leaks. So let's move on to the next part of the job, which is going to be, I'm going to take a scraper and just clean up the excess caulk that is stuck to the floor here. You're a good dog. You gonna help me put these toilets together, buddy? You're a good dog. All right, so I got my Toto Drake toilets here. Get back, Jet. Give me a space, boy. And I've got to take them out of the boxes. Stand back, Jet. I don't want to cut you on that one, boy. All right, so the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to build your toilets on the cardboard that they come with. And that way, you can pull the finished, you can set the finished toilet right in its place. So I'm gonna do just that. And again, look, wear the proper safety gear. I'm doing this barehanded today because I'm working at home. I'm a professional. I already cut myself, but you should wear gloves, boots, long pants if you're going to do this as a homeowner. And if you're a plumber and you know what I'm talking about, well, do whatever you want. You're a pro. That's a good looking toilet right there. Got the tornado flush bowl, pretty looking porcelain. These are the #1 best-selling toilets in all of America right now. So, pretty good stuff. Set my tank lid off to the side over here. There's a bit of plastic behind here that I need to get out, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why my wrist is bleeding today. I must have cut it on something. And a little bit of plastic. Let's get that out of there. Interesting flush mechanism. That's an unusual flapper. Looks very nice though. I like the design of the lid. And I always like to check and make sure the flush valve is tight. It's definitely tight. Feels like the fill valve is tight as well. So that's good news. Alright, now there are instructions. I suppose you could read them if you don't know what you're doing, but this is just another day of work for me, except I'm not getting paid. Oh, it came with china caps. That's nice. I like I like when that happens. I'll set those to the side. So I'm assuming it's gonna be, well, I'll tell you what. This kit came with more washers than most toilets, so let's just see how Toto says we need to put the tank together. All right, so it looks like we've got bolt, rubber washer, metal washer, and then nut. And then after it hits the tank, metal washer and then nut. So that's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna do bolt, rubber, bolt, rubber, and we're gonna seek them through the tank here. All right, and then metal washer, nut, all right, I'm gonna get them hand tight first, and then I'll grab a nut driver to snug those bad boys down. Looks like maybe a 5/16, or is it a 1/2 inch? No, it's not 5/16. It's 1/2 inch. All right, so you're gonna, there's a slot for a flathead. You're gonna line up, my dog is giving me kisses right now. Thank you, Jet, you're a sweet boy. And then, so your screwdriver in the tank is your backup wrench. And don't over tighten, okay? You don't need to over tighten these. Just go until it's nice and snug. Right, you're gonna get a little bit of compression out of that gasket. God forbid you need to tighten it a little more. You can tighten it a little more later. All right. I love you too, Jet. My dog is just giving me lots of kisses right now. So, I got them tighten. Maybe I should change the title of this video to Dog Licking Plumber's Face ASMR. All right, so the bolts are tight. Give me space, Jet. Good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. All right, so I've got my tank to bowl gasket. I've got both of my tank to bowl nuts or bolts set. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and set the tank on the bowl. Just like so. And then as a plumber, what I like to do is I just get on the side of the toilet here and I will take my washer and my nut and I'll get both sides hand tight first. All right, Jet, that's enough, buddy. Jet, I love you too, but that's enough. I don't know if I got bacon grease on my head or what. All right, Jet, we're gonna take a quick commercial break because my dog is driving me crazy. All right, we are back. And so, like I said, get your washer and your nut. Like I said, I'm going to go hand tight first. And then I'll snug them down a bit. Now, one thing that's important to do is before you get too tight, you want to stand in front of your toilet and make sure the tank is perfectly aligned. I think mine needs to slide a little bit to the right, so I just did that. And then a trick that I like to do is I'll put my chest on the toilet. And now I can actually kind of force the tank to where it's pretty much tight. Well, it's not tight, but it's close, and I can hand tighten underneath. So I got my hands underneath, and then I'm going to put my nut driver on the bolts, and I'm going to do like 4 quarter turns on each side to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll do like a quarter turn each side until I'm satisfied. Let's see, is the tank is just about solid. Feels like it may need a quarter to a half of a turn on each side to be fully tight. You don't want to over tighten. You can break the porcelain if you over tighten. So you just want to go until everything's snug. I think that's it right there. All right. Yeah, so that when I move the tank now, the whole bowl moves. And I like to get down and check and see if there's any gaps under. Now, okay, so this is interesting. So it looks like the right side of the tank is touching the lip between the bowl and the tank, which is perfect. So it's sitting on that little spot, but it's not quite on the left. So what I need to do, and you'll see the bolts are slightly, I must have turned slightly too much on the right hand side. So I actually need to loosen this and try and get them to where they're even. And then I need to tighten both sides in the same proportion. So let's see if I can do a better job. That's 2 turns. And we'll go 2 turns. 2 turns. 2 turns. We're getting close to that ledge that the tank sits on. Now that's gonna be just about perfect. All right, that's definitely better, and everything is straight. This toilet's pretty much ready to set. Now, I always put the toilet seat on last because it's just extra weight that doesn't add any purpose while you're setting the toilet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go inside. I'm going to set the wax ring and the bolts, and then I'll carry this toilet in and show you how I set a toilet. All right, so I got a new wax ring here. I got closet bolts here. These closet bolts are really awesome. They're called Set Fast. You don't have to cut them, so they're self-adjusting. So the thread locker goes up, and then it's got a stud that goes into an anchor nut. It's pretty cool stuff. So I'll just hold that up so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. See how it's got this little plastic piece that pushes down? That will hold it. Now look at that. Tell me that ain't pretty sweet. always want to make sure your flange is perfectly set nice and flush with the wall, or perpendicular exactly to the wall. And then we're gonna thread our bolts in with the thread locker facing up. All right, now that is set in position. If you hear crazy noises in the background, I have 2 young sons, toddlers, and yeah, they're wild. They're like wild animals. I love it. All right, our wax is set, our bolts are set, and we're about ready to set this toilet. So let's go out to the garage and grab the toilet. All right, so we're ready to set this toilet. Our rack ring and closet bolts are in position. I've got a clear path from the garage to the bathroom. That's very important. Clear all objects out of your way. And the method of transport is you're basically gonna deadlift / squat this toilet up. I guess you could call this kind of like a trap bar deadlift, but for plumbing. And what's nice about the Totos is they have this nice ridge underneath that you can really get a good grip on. And so you're just gonna lift it up, and then I'll throw it over one leg, and I'm just gonna walk it to the bathroom. These toilets aren't that heavy, maybe 50, 60 pounds, nothing crazy. If you can't lift a 50, 60 pound toilet, hire a professional or find another crew. That's all I can say. And then I still got it in the air. I'm gonna walk it over the closet bolts, and I'm looking down. I got my right side aligned. I'm looking down on my left. I'm gonna set this toilet when I have both sides, and I do. Both sides are aligned. It's time to set this bad boy down. You may notice there's a bit of a slight wiggle here. That's no bueno. What that means is we need to shim this toilet. It's not that bad now that I got it straight. I'll probably throw a shim under it anyway to be safe. But let's see. We'll snug it down and see how it does. I'm going to grout this toilet in. It's pretty minor. I think I will shim it anyway, just to show you guys how I would do this. It looks like probably the tile right here is the cause. Now, in my preference, I prefer to shim the back of the toilet than the front. So I'll throw a shim under that corner. That should compensate so that it's already in that position when you sit down. A very slight little wobble. Very slight. So let's grab a shim. All right, so I've got the shim. I'm gonna press in the spot where it wobbles, which is the front left side of the toilet. I'm gonna slide my shim under the back here, and yep, I can feel that it just filled up that gap, and I'm gonna kind of shove it in just a little bit. And now, look, that sucker ain't moving at all. So what I do is I take my knife and I just run it right along the edge of the bowl. And look, it is shimmed, and now let's set these China caps and closet bolts, and let's get this toilet set in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set, first we do China cap this side up. All right, so this is the side that goes up. perfect. You even have a little bit of wax right there to kind of help hold it in place, which is nice. And then I got my metal washer on top of that. Repeat on this side. I'll get some light so y'all can see. So we got China cap washer. We got metal washer. Once we have metal washer, we're going to go ahead and tighten down. Now what's really nice about these is they are the kind of closet bolts that adjust the height automatically. So as long as you don't over tighten, you're good. It's tightening down the base of that flange, so. Good there. I'll do the same thing over here. This toilet ain't going nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's hook up the supply line. Well, first I guess we'll throw the China caps on. There we go, nice and snug. That's beautiful. China caps go on. Nice and snug. Man, this is working out perfectly. And then let's get a supply line on here. So I got some options here, right? I got a 12-inch and a 16-inch supply line. I think I mentioned earlier I may go with the 16-inch, but I'm just gonna lay on my side here. And so 16-inch supply line, I can go down and then up, and that's pretty gentle. The other option is I could actually, because this is PEX, you can turn the PEX line. I don't like that as much. I could turn my angle stop 90 degrees, but I think the 16-inch supply is going to be what we want to do here. So what I do is I always tighten my smaller thread fitting first in terms of pipe diameter. So this is a 3-inch compression fitting. I'm going to get it hand tight first, and then follow it up with a wrench, quarter turn to half turn, past hand tight. Now keep in mind, I'm a professional, so my hand tight may be your wrench tight. I'm just kidding. That was a low blow, I know. Please forgive me. Anyways, got my handy dandy wrench. Nip-X pliers wrench here, and then I'm just gonna do, that's about a half turn right there, nice and snug. And then look at that. I think it's time we flush this thing. Now, very important, you do a couple of test flushes before you go setting your tank lid and your toilet seat and grouting it in place. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do a series of test flushes, and we're going to check for leaks. Your most common areas that you're going to have a leak are going to be by the supply line, the wax ring. If for some reason the wax ring failed, or you didn't set it properly, you'll see water come out almost immediately. So supply line, wax ring, and then the tank itself, you need to get underneath and verify that there's no leaking water either around, any of those 3 seals, because you've got your tank to bowl gaskets on your flush valve, and then you've got your bolt gaskets for your tank bolts. And so the other thing is you want to check the water level. Now, I've had good luck with most toilets from the factory. They have a good water level, but you can see they do have a leveled max line. Now let's give it a flush. Now that's a good looking flush right there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one thing you may notice, this is the 1.6 gallon flush model, okay? I don't like 1.28 gallon flush toilets. I think they're bullshit. I don't buy 1.28 gallon flushers. I only buy 1.6 gallon flushers. And I recommend my clients to do the same. If they don't take my advice, that's up to them. But we've done our first flush. Looks like the wax ring is holding. And I'm gonna poke my head up over here. All right, that looks good. Everything looks good so far. So what I'm gonna do is off camera, I'm gonna flush this guy. I like to do anywhere from 5 to 10 flushes, just to make sure everything's perfect, Man, that's a good flush. So I'll do that off camera, and then we'll resume the video when I'm ready to set the toilet lid, seat, and then grout it in place, and this toilet will be done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this toilet has been thoroughly tested. I've got my tank lid here. You can see which side is the correct side to face out, because one side will be unfinished. And then it's as simple as setting it in place. Now, the next thing we've got to do... Oh, I've got a visitor at the front door, so let me turn this off and we'll keep... All right, so we're going to put this toilet seat in now. My neighbor came over for a bit and had to pause this project, but anyways, we're back. So, now this is a slow close seat. Toto does sell their slow close seat, but instead of a $40 toilet seat, Toto charges like $80 for a toilet seat, and I think that's pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't see how a toilet seat can be worth $80, unless it's like filing my taxes for me. So, what we're gonna do is open the plastic. All right, so I've got these nice little rubber things that go underneath the toilet seat. So this goes just like that. You set down your bolts. That looks perfect. And then you're just gonna hand tighten. And you'll get to a point where it's hard to turn. That's when I stop, and once I got them close to the end, I'll go grab my Phillips head screwdriver and snug them down the rest of the way. I'm here. Hold on. Alright, and then I'm gonna snug down. I got my hand on the nut underneath. Snug it down. Do the same thing on the right. Both sides are snug. And that's pretty much it. There's our slug close seat. Just gotta pull a little bit of plastic off the seat there. And nice slow close seats so my kids don't accidentally slam the toilet seat. And now I'll go get my grout. All right, folks. So for the final part of this job, we're gonna grout this toilet. So what I do is I just take just a little smudge of grout and I smush it under that toilet nice and thick. Okay. And it's gonna apply ugly, but it's very easy to clean up. This is pre-mixed grout. I always keep some of this stuff in my truck. It's honestly great stuff. As I go, I'll pull the excess out, shove it back in. All right. Now I'm just going to take my finger and get the excess up. Basically, Gonna use the toilet water, which is clean because I haven't peed or pooped in it yet. Now I'll take my sponge, and I'm just gonna clean up the outside first with some broad strokes. Clean the porcelain. You'll be surprised at how quick the excess grout comes off with a sponge and some water. Now, if you're wondering if this little bit of grout is going to hurt the drain lines, the answer is no. But if you're going to do a lot of grouting, you absolutely should not put it down the drain line. Obviously, I'm not worried about it. I'm a plumber. If I have to descale my own house, drain lines, whatever, not a big deal. But a little bit of grout that's already wet, not going to hurt anybody. But if you were to put this whole thing of pre-mixed grout down the drain, yeah, that might be a problem. I wouldn't recommend anyone to do that. So, you know, common sense, don't be stupid. And the little bit of grout that's in here is going to be so watered down that it's just going to flush. Right down the drain system. That's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So now we just got to let this grout dry. I did use pre-mixed and it was starting to feel a little bit thick. So this pre-mixed grout's going to dry pretty quick. It should be done drying in a couple hours. You absolutely can use the toilet while you've grouted it, or while the grout is drying rather, but you just want to not mop or get a lot of water on the floors. It could slow down the drying process. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, folks. Retarded thick. I mean, the caulk on the toilets is insane. Goodness gracious. Normally come up easy. Of course, it would be at my house. Where I gotta use a freaking flathead. There we go. Goodness gracious. There we go. Man, these Sterling toilets are heavy as shit. I didn't think they were this freaking heavy. I don't think the Totos are this heavy. Good riddance. Alright, now we gotta clean up this flange. So let's get my trusty scraper here. Clean up the old caulk line. Gotta love when you get wax all over your pliers. Like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of the fact that they didn't anchor this toilet flange to the floor, but because it's flush, it's not actually that big of a deal. If I was at a customer's house, I'd probably give them an option to anchor it down or get some Tapcons in there, but it's my house. I'm not worried about it. God forbid I have to pull the toilet again. It's not that big of a deal. All right, time to go put the toilet together. What's up, Jet? Good dog. Oh, I accidentally put 2 washers on here. I don't know how I did that. Fix that mistake. You're a good boy, Jet. You're a good doggy. Yes, you are. I love you too, buddy. All right. All right, Jet. I think that's enough, buddy. That's enough, bud. Got stop. Trying to work, bud. Yeah, I love you too. I know. I know you're a lover. Yes, you are. I tell you what, you want a treat? You want a treat? Come here, boy. You want a greenie? Sit. Jump. Yeah. Again. Up. Good dog. Enjoy your treat. That looks just about perfect right there. take a short break, and then I'll go set this in the other bathroom. All right, let's go set this toilet. This rock is way worse than the other bathroom was, that's for sure. Goodness gracious. That's horrible. Seems like I need to shim the back right side. Yeah, this floor is just not very level. So, we'll shim the back right. See how it does. That was it. Yeah, the back right of the toilet's just... I don't know if y'all can see it on the camera. But the flooring is not the best. I mean, what do you expect from Track Homes, right? Ryan Holmes was the builder, and they tried their best, but, you know, when you're hiring the cheapest subcontractors, you know, it's either the concrete guy's fault or the flooring guy's fault. It is what it is. All right, seems pretty stable. Is that back left maybe need a shim just to balance things out? I guess I don't have any shims. I thought I had shims in here. Feel it one more time. No, it's pretty good. Alright, we're gonna roll with it. Oh, I gotta go get the trying caps. Looks like I do need some additional shims after all. Alright, I'll go get them. Alright, so I ended up adding one shim here, two shims there, and yeah, it was more of a pain in the butt to shim this toilet than I thought. This floor is just, you know, low quality. What are you gonna do? So you shim the back. Get a good amount of grout under this toilet and it'll be all right. Yeah. Yes, I'm recording. You're fine though. I got this toilet set. I'm just gonna hook up this ply line, test, and should be finishing up shortly.
I want to go and take care of my plants. So
No problem. I'm almost done.
I know you're gonna go and help them.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go to home to get some stuff.
No problem.
Manda, amor.
leaky leaky? No leaky leaky. I love that tornado flush. That's sexy right there. Tornado flush, baby. Alright, now I'm just gonna grout this bad boy in. Well, folks, this toilet is all done. Another job well done by the sewer studs. This time at my own house, I'm really happy with how these toilets turned out. They look really, really good. I mean, I love the tornado flush. I love the shape of the bowl. I think they look really good. And you know, to end the video, we gotta do a flush. Well, folks, that's it for today. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.